Hello and welcome back to the channel. We just got a brand new episode of Star Wars The Acolyte, raking it up to, I believe, episode 4, titled Day, which I think is going to be interesting as we're resuming kind of the main narrative, with last week's going back to explore the origins of Osher and May, which were quite slow, and I will say they were interesting, but I do kind of want to get back onto the kind of main story of what's going on with Sol and all that lot. So without further ado, let's get into this episode, because I've got a feeling, based on what the kind of reaction I've seen online from this is going to be a good one. So I believe we are going to be seeing Kelnacca this episode, or at least if we're following the kind of where episode 3 left off, or episode 2 left off, sorry.
The Jedi are good.
It's going to be following Kelnacca.
What have you done?
I'm wondering what's going to change with May now that Osha's alive. Like, if this will make her kind of back away from this master figure, or what? What's going to go on there? Does look like we are going to be following Kelnacca this episode. Or at least the planet Kelnacca's on. We may not see any of Kelnacca, but I hope we do. There's something about seeing a Wookiee in a hood, man. I don't feel like he really needs it, but it is kind of cool. Oh, the set design here is fantastic. Why is he drawing those symbols? I believe that's the symbols of this kind of group of witches seem to be having, and it's the one that May has tattooed on her head. So why is a Jedi drawing them? The High Republic robes just do have this era of grandeur around them, which I have to say is absolutely fantastic. Interesting. Osha didn't strike me as the kind of person just to leave that alone. I don't know. It's quite the contrast between how she was acting in episode 2. Now, the question is Kelnacca still part of the Order? Like, we don't really know what's going on with him, because Torben has taken the Barash vow. Is he just stationed there? Because if so, they can at least send a warning to him to go, hey, be aware, we believe someone might be trying to target you, and this is them.
You need me.
Khofar is rather interesting. There's been a couple of theories around him supposedly being the Master or the Master's Master.
You made a deal.
It's possible. So I'm curious on what is going on with him, because again, what he's just said he did suggests he's more capable than he's letting on. But I don't know. People may just be delving too much into that, but I think there is more at work with him than meets the eye. I've seen you somewhere. Where have I seen you?
Yes, she doesn't know her master's identity.
I know where I've seen her.
She fears him.
I know where I've seen it. That lass is from. It's also in Sex Education. Played May's adoptive mother. Different May, but yeah.
We should handle this ourselves.
This is, I think, the problem with the Jedi is they kind of go hand in hand with the Senate and the Republic, and that's just.
And if she doesn't,
It doesn't work, because if the Republic in itself is corrupt, the Jedi are therefore corrupted with them. Like, it doesn't really work.
No one could have survived that.
Famous last words in Star Wars. Interesting that Venestra is actually picking up on this, because that's a very, very different difference between the Jedi around the Phantom Menace. Like, nah, Sith's gone. No, nothing can hurt us. No, invincible. Whereas Venestra is actually like, no, this could be something, which is again a really good contrast to what the Jedi should be rather than what the Jedi are, which I think is what is so good about the High Republic.
Oh look, there it is. The perimeter.
I also feel like they're deliberately feeding us
can't believe my
a
sister
potential false trail with Khofar. I don't know.
What was she like when you spoke to her?
Recognition on her face, I feel like that means something. And also, did he know Sol's name? It's another question. A lot going on here. I'm interested to see it get unpacked. Yeah, I don't know. I'm glad that Osha's. I didn't think Osha would not be involved, but I did find it kind of odd that she was so willing to step away. They have a habit of just making adorable creatures in Star Wars, don't they? That is just a walking, talking otter, if I've ever seen one.
Any questions?
No.
Yours is just so like this lass better not get in my way again. Star Wars truly trying to make anyone part of that Yord Horde, I see. I do like Sol. I like all of the Jedi they've introduced here. I think Sol in particular is a really stand out to me. Yord, I feel like we need more of. But I do... No one I particularly dislike. Jackie will always be my favourite. They look like beetles almost, like with the kind of marks on the back, kind of like bits of a shell. That's going to move, I think, when she walks away. Yep, it's going to move. It's a big beetle. Oh, I don't like that very much. That's not creepy at all. It's a flying beetle. That's not at all terrifying. I'd never want to see those things ever again in Star Wars because they are not very friendly. It's interesting we're getting a lot of random Jedi this episode. I feel like that might be a way to kill off some that we don't particularly care about yet. That's my only kind of thing or theory I have going into this, but I don't know. Jackie is becoming a really big standout for me. Honestly, she was already a favourite of mine from the Yord close back on scene. So it's nice that they're fleshing her out and not just giving her kind of like a comedic relief sort of role. If he is like this kind of secret Sith or master figure, him caring for May would not really go against that whole kind of stigma behind that character, or like, yeah, it wouldn't necessarily make sense. So I'm curious as to what's going on with him, because I'm getting suspicious, but at the same time I'm being dissuaded from my suspicion. You know, it's weird. The shots of just the outer world and the forest are quite cool this episode. I'm glad we're trying to like explore different shots of multiple planets and not constantly returning to the same one. Is it me, or does this look very similar to the episode, or like the shot in the episode where they all have their sabers out? Like, looks kind of similar shot-wise. I think I have... Okay, so this whole theory of Khmer possibly being this master figure, I feel like this kind of gives it credence because I think she's kind of testing him, because she's realized, oh wait, he's trying to help me a lot and he's knowing these Jedi names that don't seem to make sense to me, so I feel like she's testing to see if the master will suddenly appear and then go, it's you, you're him, but I don't know. I may be looking too much into it.
I promise.
Huh. That tends to kind of be followed by an almost famous last words sort of thing. Yeah, this looks very similar to like the area that we see in the trailer with all the Jedi having their sabers out and seeing this master figure. So I'm very curious as to how this is going to go forward. And I do think Khmer could possibly be this master, but I just don't know enough yet. So what's Kelnacca going to do? Huh? Is that him slumped? Is he already dead? Oh, shoot. Okay. Okay, no, this is the shot. We're going to see him fight. I think it could be Khmer then. I genuinely do. Oh, this is... I didn't think we'd be getting this early. I thought this would be like the season finale at least. Float behind May. Osha even. Oh, the mask looks so cool. Is Osha gonna die? I don't think they want to identify themselves.
Down.
I'm worried for Osha now. Oh, it's about to go down. No way. I mean, if you're gonna just say you hate us, Leslie Headland, say that. I mean, come on, man. That ending is definitely the strongest so far. Oh my god, okay. So I had my suspicions that we'd be seeing this confrontation this episode. I think I saw, like, the shot was reposted or something today, and I was like, that's odd. And it was before I watched the episode, but I thought, we'll see how the episode goes. But we've got Darth Teeth, or as he's been kind of dubbed on the internet. Wow. I mean, I think it's really heightening that aspect of fear, and it's interesting they didn't kill Osha. I would have thought if they didn't care about Osha, they would just kill her off, because it's just easier to do, why not? But the fact they're revealing themselves to the Jedi is a very interesting move, because I would have thought they want to stay in the shadows as long as possible without outing themselves, but it does seem that they're going, no, I'm going to show myself to the Jedi. But to what end? And who are they? Now, I think it's Khmer now. However, I also believe it's possible that it's a redirect at the same time. I think just the way it was handled towards the end of the episode with him just saying, oh yeah, I just did this earlier after, like, supposedly stumbling and tripping on something. Oh yeah, I went through this ridiculously hard to navigate jungle, but I'm tripping up on the box I just put down on the floor, so, you know, don't be suspicious. And then the kind of, oh yeah, what was that Jedi's name? Sol. Don't be suspicious, even though I never really asked for his name. So how would I know that? Have you ever seen his face? No, you know, I've never seen his face. What is stupid? And then the kind of subtle. The only thing that throws me off is the trying to help May bit. Like, that doesn't seem particularly in character if this is a Sith to seem to do. But again, if they're kind of nudging them towards doing something, I guess kind of just to see if they're capable when they've been not necessarily reassured but pushed into that situation, I suppose is different. But my main thing is, if it's not Khmer, how else does he know? Quite possibly Khmer just contacted him. Also, I would have thought that the Jedi would have found Khmer. Like, I believe his name is Khmer. I apologize if I've been saying the wrong name. But I think it would make it would be a bit odd for the Jedi not to run into him, because again, they all heard that kind of scream, I believe, in the forest, and it's like, oh, well, if they heard that and they followed it to its source, they would have found him. But they supposedly didn't, so what's kind of going on there? The other thing I guess you've got to ask is, well, if that was him, how did he just have all of his stuff? Which, again, is a very good question. We don't know if that is him yet. I'm in the camp that it kind of is, or at least he's more involved than we seem to think. Because again, there were those suggestions that he's more capable than we think he is. But yeah, I'm very curious on how they're going to kind of go forward. Like, especially Osha's unharmed, May's still in there, so I've got a funny feeling we may get to the next episode and find that maybe a couple of the Jedi have died, and some, like, Sol wake up and go, oh, what's going on here? Wake up to, like, a mess, couple of dead Jedi, and maybe Osha and May, or just May is missing. That is my kind of current inclination as to where they're going to pick up. I don't think we're going to see a full duel this season. I think we're just going to see the red side. I think giving us that this early would be... It'd be a bit odd to give us that now. So I'd be curious as to where we're going to pick up next episode. Again, my bet is on just, like, a couple of the key characters like Sol, Jeki, Yord, waking up and seeing, oh, all of these Jedi are now dead, the place is a mess, and May's now missing, or May and Osha are now missing. And again, I did kind of mention beforehand going, I do think it's odd that for whatever reason, there are a bunch of, like, unnamed, uncast Jedi just wandering around. It's almost as if they want, like, some easy things to kill off without the people being too attached to them, and I think I may have been spot on in that. The only other thing that I've just thought of now is the Jedi that I said I've seen before somewhere, as, believe, had an actor role in Sex Education. I believe they were not with the group with Sol, but they were sent to retrieve Kelnacca. So, I mean, it's a possibility that it's them. However, I don't think that's as likely, just given that, you know, that's the first time we've seen them. We know nothing about them. It wasn't even like they were given emphasis as a Jedi, just kind of just like, oh yeah, they're there and they're being sent off to do this thing, as opposed to holding some sense of importance. So, they really could go anywhere with this. Again, on the kind of belief that Chimera is got some involvement with of being, or either heavily assisting and being more involved with Darth Teeth than we initially kind of believed. But I think that's certainly the best episode of the Acolyte so far, and such a goddamn great way to end this episode, and certainly has me kind of going, oh my god, what the hell are we going to see next? But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that will be all for today's reaction. Thank you all very, very much for watching. It's been certainly a very good episode this week, so I'm glad you could enjoy it with me. I will, of course, be reacting to it next week when that drops. Also, do keep an eye out for my Doctor Who and House of the Dragon reactions if you are into that stuff, and I did drop a predictions video for House of the Dragon as well. If you're interested in House of the Dragon and where it's potentially going to go in Season 2, go give that video a watch. But yeah, I've been Grandmaster Bale. This has been Season 1, Episode 4 of the Acolyte Day, and I will see you in the next one.